Okay, we're live! Yay! Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live show discussing The Girl in the Tower, the second book in the Winternight trilogy. And we're going to have an interesting discussion. I'm intrigued to see where this is gonna go because I think we've got some differing opinions. Okay, so before we get into that, do you all just want to introduce yourselves? I know that's like the worst thing for me to ask you to do because you're like, how do I introduce myself? But introduce yourselves. Nicole, you go first.
Okay, I'm Nicole from Nicole and Her Books. Do you want me to say something else?
Yeah, just say like what books you read and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. I mostly read fantasy. I like to think that I read broadly, but it always ends up just being fantasy. Mostly adult fantasy too. And yeah.
I know. It's the most awkward thing in the world. Like I'm always like,
I know nothing about myself.
Well, Aaron,
when I'm on the spot, I'm like, I know nothing about myself, actually.
Aaron, oh, are you just not gonna, is that it?
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Aaron. My channel is Booked and Busy. I mainly read adult fantasy. I'm reading more sci-fi these days, and I read a pretty steady amount of romance as well. I like to think I'm pretty interesting, but that's all I got. Sorry.
It's okay, it's brilliant.
I'm Riley from the channel Riley Marie. I read mostly romance, fantasy, horror. Yeah, that's kind of it.
Okay, so everyone's linked down below, by the way, for those of you watching, so make sure you go subscribe to them all. What was I going to say? Okay, we'll try and keep the start of this spoiler free as much as we can, like with our initial thoughts, but I think we'll probably get into spoilers quite fast because it is the second book in a series. Okay, where should we start? Should we just say our ratings first to give,
okay.
to give people an idea of the split here? So I gave it 5 stars. I still gave it 5 stars. Nicole?
I gave it 3 stars.
Aaron?
I think I gave it 1 star. I haven't rated on Goodreads yet, but I think I'm leaning towards a 1 star.
I also gave it 5 stars.
Wow, it's just me.
Put in the comments if you read it what rating you gave it so we can see. Okay,
I have a very high rating on Goodreads, so I know that I'm in the minority. It's like a 4.2 or 3 on Goodreads, which is extremely high.
that is high, but it's also the second in a series. I feel like the more you get into a series, the higher the ratings. So I said, oh my god, 1 star.
The first book has a high rating too, I think.
If it helps, I'll give the first book 2 stars.
What else have we got? Okay, 4.25, 4, 5. Aaron, you're in the minority.
I might be the only. This is beyond minority.
We've got a 3 star. So someone agrees with Nicole. I can't see any more on the thing yet. Oh, we've got a few more. Hang on. 4 stars, 5 stars, 4 to 4.5. Okay, so I'm going to be very interested to hear what Aaron has to say for everything. What should we talk about first? Should we just talk about like our basic thoughts? I guess, like to keep it spoiler free. I feel like it's quite hard to keep it spoiler free, but just like initial. Favorite part and least favorite part. Who wants to go first? I hate always putting Nicole on the spot first because she's next to me in the screen. I can go first if you want. I can go first.
Okay, you go first.
I'd say my favorite part of this, and by the way, put it in the comments as well, those of you that have read it. I say my favorite part is I really like Sasha and Olga in this. Like, I love the family like coming back together and like seeing how they've grown apart, but also understand each other better. Like, they've grown apart but come together, and I really like the journey that they go on. I really love Sasha. Like, I just have like a soft spot for Sasha. I just love him. And least favorite part, I'm gonna have to think. Hang on. I don't know. I definitely did feel, because I just tweeted about how I can't read without an audiobook at the moment. Like, I just can't do it. Like, for some reason, I just pick up a physical book and I'm like, nah, I'm sorry, it's not happening unless I've got an audiobook. And I feel like I don't like this series as much read as an audiobook. So it's like, I don't want to read it via the audiobook, but I can't read if I don't have the audiobook. So I feel like there was just some parts where the pacing was a bit off for me. And also I feel like Constantine is kind of like a bit wasted in this book. Like, he kind of appears and then you're like, well, I want more from you because you were such a big part of the first book. So that's my favorite and least favorite part. Nicole, do you have your answer? Yeah.
I was gonna say Sasha moments too, but there's one where she sort of says something back to him. She sort of claps back at him for, I can't remember. I'm trying to find it. I know I marked it. I really like, that was my favorite moment between the two of them. And my least favorite was actually part 2. I remember like all the part 2, I was like not liking the book at all.
Mm-hmm. What's part 2? Is that? Oh, that's kind of like where have you had both of Sasha and Bastia's storylines and now they're together? Is that part 2 or is that part 3?
I think that might be part 2. Part 1 was definitely Sasha and Olga, and then part 2 was where we met up.
Yeah, part 2 is when we go back and follow Vasya, I think.
Yeah, it was just a bit disappointing.
I would have rather that been told at the same time than like forwards and backwards and then backwards and forwards again. Because when I thought my audiobook had skipped when I heard. I was like, wait, what? Because we were kind of in the same thing, but from her perspective, I was like, hold on.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, that was one bit at the beginning. I thought that kind of didn't work. Like, following one, then following the other, then meeting back up. I agree that it should have been, but I think maybe it wanted to open. Hang on, let me consult the book. So we have the prologue, and then it starts with like Olga and Sasha, and for some reason I just feel like it wanted to start with them, but chronologically a lot of the stuff then we go back and follow with Vasya happens before that. So I feel like maybe it couldn't. I don't know. Nicole, do you have any more? Is that it? I don't want to like cut you off.
No, and another bit I didn't like was when Olga said their mother and father died because of Saskia.
Oh, yeah.
Rude.
Yeah.
That was rude. Yeah. I forgot how rude Olga, like, I forgot how like rude to Vasya she was. I mean, I can understand it, like, in terms of like the historical setting, but I kind of like forgot that. I already can't understand it.
I mean, the dad, sure, maybe, but like the mom died in childbirth. I don't know that I can be blamed.
Oh yeah,
for those events. She was already old. Like, she had grown children. Okay, and you're mad at me?
Yeah,
that's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah. What do you have any favorite part? Or do you just have a least favorite part?
Okay. My favorite part, I think, was, I might be mixing the two scenes up in my mind, but when Vasya was like hypothermic and about to die, and she was able to make the house appear, and he's like, you come here, you want my gold, and you want my bed, and you want my food, I'm supposed to save you, I gave you this, I'll take you back home, what do you want from me, woman? And him just, every time, he's my favorite part of the book, every time he would come and save her, and like in the battle with the raiders, he was like fighting by her side and keeping everybody off her. I'm just like, I love this song. They're so precious. Their relationship is so precious. He's the most interesting part of the story to me, for sure. I think That's my favorite part. My least favorite part, I think, honestly, was all the interactions with Olga. Like, I did not like her as the way she is now. This whole princess thing, her attitude with her sister. I'm like, you were raised up with her, so you knew how Vassia was, like, her whole life. Like, you knew she had the side because your mom also had it. Like, nothing about the way that Vassia is should be a surprise at this point, especially with her daughter being similar to her and it being very obvious. So it's interesting that, you know, she reacts so negatively towards her when it's like not really a surprise.
Yeah. Riley, what about you? Favorite and least favorite part?
It's interesting that Erin and I have such opposite ratings because I have the same favorite and least favorite parts.
Wow.
Like, I hated Olga with a passion.
Really?
Like, homegirl needs to go. She needed to. There needed to be a different outcome to a couple of the deaths.
Oh,
she needed to bite the bullet. But yeah, my favorite parts were Vassia and Morozko's. Like any scene they were together, I was just like, oh, that's so cute. And then I also really liked Vassia and Solveig, her horse. I just loved their like bond.
The animal companion.
Yeah. I love the whole thing about like horses being able to speak in this and like how they communicate. I think that like adds such a cool element to it. Okay, we've had a few differing. Hang on, I just want to read some of people's. So a lot of people saying their personal favorite is Vassia and Morozko. Also, I saw in the Goodreads group a lot of people love the niece as well.
She's like, you're ugly. You're my ugly aunt. I'm prettier than you. Take me out. I'm gonna tell.
Hang on, I'm trying to read what everyone else has said.
Maria. They were calling her Masha. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but then also someone says, Sarah says the relationship between Owen and King doesn't appeal to me. So okay, let's discuss that. Can we do that non-spoilery, or should we just get into spoilers? Like, should we just get into spoilers?
Yeah,
let's just get into spoilers. Okay. Let's just do it. Okay, so I remember when I read book 1, and I think none of us were sure, like, is this going to be a romance? Like, in the live show, I feel like we were like, is it going to end up being fully a romance from book 1? Like, you kind of have the hints of it. But what did you think about how their relationship progressed and like how, let's just start there and I'll get into other stuff. I want to talk about their relationship afterwards, but I feel like their relationship is such an interesting part to talk about. But who wants to start?
I'll go. Sure. I think, like, I can see why people might not ship them romantically. I think it's really easy to ship them because he is the only person who sees and accepts Vassia for exactly who and what she is all the time. And I think she would have had that had her mother lived, because her mom knew what type of child she was going to be. But like, her whole family fought against her, even though especially the dad, he knew. And the spirits and all those, she can see them, she's aware of them. And when she interacts with him, this is the first time she's like, I'm seeing you and you're seeing me, and it's okay. And throughout the series, he comforts her. He shows up for her when she needs someone. So like, even if it was just like their friendship, he is a good friend to her. And then I think for him, she's kind of the only person that can see him, and she tethered him to the world, and she makes him feel more human because she doesn't treat him like a demon, and she's never been afraid of him. So I think in situations like any type of literature where you have two people where the only thing they really have is each other, and the only they can kind of depend on is each other, and they only feel safe with each other, that kind of like leans itself towards a romance, even if it's not intended. This is because they are all that each other has. And so it's forbidden, obviously, because he is not alive, and all these things. But I think their relationship is one that I really enjoy them having. I just don't particularly like Vassia. I think that's the problem with me.
Yeah. Why don't you like Vassia?
She has no personality.
What?
Other than being like headstrong and like reckless, we don't really get much of Vassie. And I think even with that, we get more told that Vassie is so headstrong and reckless than we actually see that. Because I mean, the things that she does usually aren't that wild to me, even in comparison to everyone else, because their entire village grew up offering to the spirits and, you know, appreciating them. So is it that odd that she would continue the practice that she was, you know, raised in? Even when the priest and the stepmom, who was evil, came around. So it's like they're condemning her for something that their entire community had, you know, put forward the entire time. So it's like everyone's saying how bad, how headstrong, and how evil she is. But I mean, she's a child. So it was just like very normal to me. So even that part of her personality didn't really mesh with like what we were being told was to be true about her versus like what she really was. And like she doesn't have any goals or any aspirations. She just wants to walk around the forest on her horse and just live life. And it's just not very interesting, unfortunately.
Oh my god. Riley, Nicole, do you have any thoughts on this?
It's interesting you say like no goals, because that was one of my things with this series was there's no clear direction. And I've sort of discovered recently I do like to know where the story is heading or where the character's trying to take themselves. And like obviously she's trying to live a life where she's not confined to what women are supposed to do during that time, but there's nothing really outside of that. And I just found that whole storyline to be quite redundant. And something going back to I'm just going to say the Winter King. I'm not going to butcher his name. But part of the reason I was so disappointed by part 2 was we finally got to see them together, and I felt like that was the whole lead up to at the end of book 1. And then it was so brief, and we moved on, and she was moving on, and I wanted more time with them together, and him teaching her magic and all that. So
I feel like it's such like a slow burn throughout the whole series, their relationship. Yeah, like I remember when I first read it, I wasn't even sure that it was like romantic until the end of this book, like that it was going to go down that romantic path until like the end, and when he's like, as I could, I loved you.
You didn't think it was going to be romantic when they kept kissing?
When they kept kissing.
Wait, when did they kiss? Like once before?
No, they kissed like 3 times.
Yeah, it's been at least 3
She
times.
woke up with a taste of winter and musk and fire on her lips.
I was like, I wasn't sure that it was going to be like a forever thing, or if it was like, I wasn't sure whether, I just don't want to spoil anything for book 3, but like I wasn't sure whether I could like trust him. You know, like if he was just kissing her, like if that was going to go anywhere, like if he was trustworthy, if he was genuine in that. I didn't know whether I could trust him, and I think by the end of this book I felt like I could trust him. I don't know, I guess that's how I felt. What are people saying?
Someone's commented feels like she doesn't have any goals because of the time. On that, Erin and I were discussing in the DMs, we were saying this feels more historical than it does fantasy.
Yeah,
and we reckon that's why we might have not liked it as much as you guys did, because we're more fantasy than historical readers.
Yeah,
but she did have goals though, didn't she? Because she kept saying like, I want to travel, I want to explore, I want to see the world.
But she gave all that up at the beginning of book 2. Like, completely scrapped that.
Only for a bit. She's like, we're not going to be here for long, and then she just goes caught up in what's happening.
Yeah, like everything that happened, she kept saying like, I'm not going to be here for long. I'm going to be gone.
And she kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper involved.
Well, that's because they kept trying to kill her.
Okay, so my thing is, I was thinking, all right, this book 2 is going to be better because Vassia has like grown up a little bit. She's got freedom now. She has agency of herself at the end of the book. But I feel like the things that she did right at the beginning of this book kind of stripped her of all the agency that she had like very early on, because she went and joined up with her brother, pretending to be a boy with the prince man. A terrible idea. rejoining with your family who didn't accept you as a child. She knew how her sister was and what society would be like to an extent. She didn't think that anyone was going to be like, oh, this is an amazing thing that you've got going on, whilst you're also pretending to be a boy with this magic horse. And it's like, oh, I want to be free, but you're constantly putting yourself in chains again, over and over again.
Yeah, I guess, but like I kind of like when she frustrates me. Like I like when I don't know. I don't know. I think I like the aspect of her that you don't like. And I also think I like how it doesn't have a clear, like the book itself and her don't have a clear goal. I think I like how it's a bit more up in the air and a bit more like, I don't know, a bit more, I don't know what the word for it is.
That's definitely what I said to Nicole. I said it feels more like slice of life historical fiction, which I don't read contemporary because I don't like slice of life. I want somebody to die. I even said I don't think it feels very adult because it's not, there aren't any mature themes that I've seen. It's not overly violent. It's not graphic at all. It's short. It's not dense.
I don't feel like an adult book though needs graphic or violent scenes for it to be an adult book. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then like she's young,
Yeah.
so I'm like that I think maybe going into that I might have had some expectations that were not necessarily realistic for this specific book.
Anything else we want? Oh, okay. On Riley, do you want to say anything about Morozko or and their relationship?
Yeah, I think my favorite parts with him was when like every time he would kind of leave her, he would be like, no, I can't possibly love her. And his horse is like, okay, man.
Bitch. Yeah. What do you guys think about like because something hang on, how do I phrase this? Was he like right?
I thought she was like 14.
I think she's like 16 or 18 in this one. I think. I don't know.
Well, she was 14 at the start of Bear and Nightingale. After the time skip.
I don't know. I never really know what her age is. And that's part of the reason I never was a bit like, about the romance. Because I was like, isn't she like 12?
But also, like, he's immortal. He's like 1,000,000 years old. She could be 98. And it would be like still a really big age gap.
That's true. That's true. But I agree also, before I get into Roscoe again, like, about like, I don't know if it fits into adult or YA necessarily. Like, I don't know what I would categorize it as. I don't know. I've always struggled to categorize it as one or the other. Oh, you're muted, Aaron.
It's not in the fantasy section. It's in general fiction. At least all the books that I've seen is in general adult fiction. So I think the book seller consensus also is that it's more so because the fantastical element. I thought she was gonna have power. She's supposed to be a witch.
Yeah,
like, doing something. She can see the spirits.
The last one has witch in the title, so I'm thinking.
So yeah,
I mean, they wanted to burn her at the stake in book 1.
The last one is the most fantastical, I would say, if I remember correctly. I mean, I do have the worst memory, but like, I mean,
it is Winter of the Witch, so
maybe. What was I gonna say? Okay, yeah, about Morozko again. Do you think he was right to like sustain himself using her, and like how, like, using the jewel? Like, what? Because again, do you think we can trust him because of that? Like, I always think that's a bit iffy. I don't know. And like, how do you think their relationship is going to change now that that element is gone?
Well, it wasn't personal to her. That the stone had been passed down through generations. So if it was like she just had the stone and she was the only one specifically, then maybe I was like, that's a little weird.
No, but he made it for her. Right? I think he made it.
Her mom had it.
No, he gave it. He gave it to her dad.
Yes.
For her, and it's because of her. I think this is hinted at in the book. I'm pretty sure. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's because of her lineage.
Yeah,
Sad.
because her grandma was the one that was tied to the other guy.
Yes. Yeah.
So just seeing how he used her with his stone and seeing how Morozkov was using, I'm like, okay, this is clearly the lesser of two evils. Because he
Yeah.
also, saved her life and his own life, a number of times.
Yeah, I don't feel like he ever abused that power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. But like,
I think it's interesting.
Sorry, you go.
You go.
No, I wasn't
You
going to
go.
say anything. I wasn't going to say
I was
anything.
going to say, I think it's interesting because I didn't trust him from the beginning, mostly because we got those stories of him and you kind of knew who he was when you introduced, because we got the story from the old nanny that looked after them, like in the first chapter of The Bear and the Nightingale. So you knew that he historically was a evil figure. And then you got to know him personally, so you do want to trust him more. But like I always had that hesitation.
Yeah.
Because of that story.
Yeah. Hang on. So we've got more. Some people are saying it feels like a fantasy to me. It's written like a fairy tale, even when the mundane things are happening, and I think that's why I think of it as a fantasy, like that kind of like fairy tale writing.
It's still definitely a fantasy, but
yeah. Oh, this one says, I think this series reads more like folklore or myth than it does fantasy. And I think that I would agree with that.
The story itself felt like one of the stories that the nanny was telling. Like, by the fire, let me tell you about like a story to warn little girls to stay in their place and like to do what they're supposed to do and listen to their parents. This is what happens when you're a wild girl and you do these things. Like, that was the vibe that I got.
Yeah. But did you not like the writing, Aaron? Like the style of it?
I think I'm indifferent towards the writing. Like one of the things I was looking for going into was like it was so atmospheric. That's like the main thing. Everyone said like it's so atmospheric. I'm like, where's the atmosphere? It's just cold. That's it.
What?
I was disappointed.
So good. That was my favorite thing, actually. I think.
Yeah. All we have is the snow. Like I didn't feel I was there. Like I never once escaped into the story, and like I was just so immersed in the story. I was like, it's just cold, and I just got into my blanket, and that was it. And then I just kept going.
Riley's face is so confused.
I did the exact opposite. Like I was so immersed in the atmosphere.
Yeah, I love the atmosphere of it.
Yeah, same.
I am not among happiness with this particular book. Let me read a sentence.
No, not feeling it. I can tell you're not feeling it. No atmosphere here.
I feel like this could have been one book. Definitely could have been one. I haven't read the third one, but just from books 1 and 2, this definitely could have been one book because they're not long. Like
no,
I just have the first 2 right here, but this is the book that I was just reading for my book club, for example. This could have been one book. One.
But for some of us, books that size are scary. So having these nice little ones.
I think the pacing would have suffered a lot if it was one whole book, though.
Or novellas.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot, especially in this one, there's a lot of like
I think it needed the break.
There's a lot of meandering through the forest with one person, with 2 people, with a group of people. We're just in the forest, walking around, smelling the horses, looking at the grass, chewing, lighting fires.
Sometimes you need to just spend 10 pages having a chat with your horse. Like, sometimes that just needs to happen. Like, that's what I like. I like how it's like slow. And listen, we can just agree to this.
It's like, yeah, oh my gosh. See, I liked the horse. The horse was very cool. It was the people that were not interesting.
Wait, should we quickly talk about? I didn't hate Olga. I don't like. I understand that she's not very nice, right? But like, I understood her. Like, I understood like the everyone's shaking their head at me. Like, okay, hang on. Let me make my case, and then you can all disagree with me, right? Okay. I didn't plan this. I'm gonna be. Let me think about what I'm gonna say. Okay, so I feel like she has been like forced, like she was like younger than Vasya is when she had to come marry this dude she didn't know, and she's been stuck in that tower, and then like suddenly this girl that she hasn't seen in years, her sister, who although she loves, like is coming in and like tearing her life up. Like she, by coming in as a boy and forcing Olga to like have that secret, she's literally putting Olga's life at risk. Like, wouldn't you be a bit pissed? Like, wouldn't you be a bit pissed? I'd be a bit pissed. And I feel like women in this time were so constrained, and Olga is like is a character that shows us how little freedom and enjoyment in life these women had, and like how like they had nothing to do and they're just trapped. And that for me, that makes like the ending when she kind of starts to forgive Vasya all the more touching. I don't know. Okay, you can all disagree with me now.
I just feel like if she's like experienced this, she's been trapped, whatever. Wouldn't you not want that for your sister? Wouldn't you be happy that like she has found some sense of freedom and not be so like judgmental on her?
I feel like it would just make you be a bitter bitch. Like I just feel like we can sit and be like, oh yeah, wouldn't you be like, but if you've lived that life for years, wouldn't you just be a bit bitter and a bit miserable?
But like, why do you take it out on Vasya? Like whether Vasya came or not, you were still trapped in this tower, and like that part of your life was not her fault at all. You were already unhappy, and she already had a witch in her house, so she was already in for a world of trouble soon enough. Because Maria was running around with the ghosts, screaming all night when nobody getting no sleep in that tower.
But I feel like I don't want all my characters. I'm like fiddling with my scrunchie. Try and make my thought. I don't want my characters to have perfect reactions. Like I want characters to piss me off. I want characters to act in ways that maybe like I don't think they should act. Like I don't want them to be perfect because I think that's not like realistic. Like I think I don't know. I think Olga reacting in the way that she does, and I still feel like I could see her love for Vasya and love for what Vasya is, even when she's being a bitch, like even when she's not being nice. And listen, this is just my opinion, but yeah, I wouldn't want her to like accept Vasya with open arms and be like, yes, come in, like come do your magic, you know, come like possibly get me killed. Like I just don't feel like it would be realistic. It's just not realistic. Anyway, that's my thoughts.
Was it not realistic for Sasha either?
But
Sasha was a man of God, and he was lying.
Sasha's a man, so he's more freedom in this time. So that's like the difference between the two.
So I mean, like the freedom aspect, yes, but I feel like even when like Sasha and Vasya had several conversations, he's like, "This is wrong. This is a terrible idea," but he was never mean to her about it. Like I think that was part of my issue with Vasya, not with Olga, and I think it had more to do with her being concerned about Masha as well. It's like she was very mean. It wasn't just concern. It wasn't. She was actually being mean to her for no reason. And I think it's because she could see that she'd already knew that Vasya was like this. Because when they told her about Vasya going to the convent, she's like, that doesn't sound like her. She's not the person for that. And she can already see her daughter going on this similar path, and so that scared her. But it still made her be mean.
Yeah.
But I feel like she had more to protect because like it wasn't just her getting in trouble, it would be her whole family if Vasya does something. Like that's the thing. Like even though I do think it's realistic and I agree with everything you say, Meg, I think like that was where the historical stuff sort of lost me. Like if it was fantasy, it would go in a different direction, you know what I mean? And that's and I also just kind of felt like she was stepmom 2.0, and I was like, we've been here before.
Really?
We're gonna get you married off, and you're gonna have kids and servants, and it's gonna be fine. Clearly, she don't want that.
Oh my god. Okay, well, that's very interesting. I didn't hate her. Should we talk? Okay, I agree. Should we talk about Cassian? Did we predict that he was going to be the villain?
Right. First scene he was in, I was like, this little bitch.
I didn't. I forgot.
You forgot. Not on a reread. Him tricking you on a reread.
Yes. I remember when he when she like told him what was going on, he was like, "Let's keep it on the DL." That's when I was like, "Oh yeah." Like,
I feel like he always like came in at the right time, did the right thing, said the right thing. I'm like, no boys are like this.
Yeah, that's true.
I give him that. I love a smart villain. Like, stay 2 steps ahead of me. Have a fall guy for me to suspect, and then not really know what's going on.
One thing, Nicole, did you predict it from the start?
No, I didn't, because I thought Constantine was going to be the focus villain, but then he like didn't appear at all, and then this guy showed up. I'm like, oh, not another villain, like really.
Constantine is so weird. He has this nasty obsession with Vasya, and I'm like, I think the spirits of the demons or somebody was whispering in his ear, because that was not God at all.
He's like so slimy. Like, at least Cassian has like some balls. Like, at least he's a bit more like straight up. But Constantine is like, he's a bit.
This second book has some like gross consent, like sexual type things. Like the one when she was supposed to get married. Was that in the first book? Maybe I'm tripping. It might have been in the first book when she was supposed to get married to that guy. It wasn't the first book, and he like felt her up and was like touching her, and it was I'm uncomfortable. And then in here, like it kept happening again. Like it's a little gross.
Yeah.
Let me strip her naked so I can be sure. Was that required? Did you absolutely need to see her butt naked in the middle of winter? Basically, I mean, we're in Russia, so it's always cold, but.
What was I gonna say about Cassian? I can't remember. Oh, one thing I don't understand though, and I'm a bit confused by it. This is probably being dumb. Like, do you remember? So he comes to see her on the morning of the race, and he's like, "Come away with me," and all this, but he keeps getting interrupted. Like, he gets interrupted by Sasha or someone else, and then afterwards he's like, "This all could have been avoided. You should have listened to me." Like, bitch, you never gave her a chance to listen to you. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. Do you know what I mean? That just bothered me. It's not a big deal. This isn't a big plot point, but it just bothered me the way he was, like phrasing it. Do you know what I mean?
The magic and the spell had expired or something.
I don't know. I was like, you didn't explain the situation. He was like, I tried to give you a chance to avoid me having to expose you in front of all of Moscow. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It's just him being manipulative.
Yeah, that's true.
I call Constantine a D-list villain.
Yeah, he like only took up at the end, and it was to be pathetic. Like, my guy.
I was so glad now that he can see the what are they? Sprites? Spirits. Yeah. He's like, it's haunting. I'm like, oh yeah, enjoy that. Have fun. What you get?
Yeah, I wish he was in it almost though, like a bigger part. I don't know, but I did like Cassian, but he's wasted. I don't know, but maybe
I don't like it when they keep introducing villains, especially when the like other ones are there. Like, obviously there's like the one big one that's always overarching, but yeah.
I think that's why I forgot about Cassian a little bit, because like he's only in this book, whereas like our other villains kind of go across the like all the books.
So he's not in the last book.
No, I hope that's not a spoiler. He's not.
Didn't he die?
So yeah, he died.
So he's just there to do his thing here, and also for the connection with the grandma.
Yeah, because the grandma is important. So like Cassian ain't any important. We can forget about him. But like,
So why wasn't the mom important? The grandma and the daughter important? Are we skipping generations here?
The mom is important, but I don't think the mom had the same powers, did she?
No, she didn't have the same amount.
Vasya gets the powers from the grandma.
Oh, we were going to see the power and not just the vision of the spirits in the third book.
Yeah. That's what I'm gonna say. I don't know what I can say.
How old is
Hmm?
that he was
Oh yeah, because it's that
flashing the
prophecy.
grandma, and now he's trying to marry the granddaughter. That's kind of nasty.
That is kind of nasty. That is kind of gross. Going for the grandma and then the granddaughter.
You have literally chained my grandma to this plane, and you are chasing me around the city.
It was grandma, granddaughter, then great granddaughter, because he went after the niece too. he's just trying to keep it in the family.
That's nasty. Like, it's just nasty. What is going on here? But see, the prince thing, it was his closest friend, but it was also his cousin, and that was his sister. So like, okay, this is my sister and this is my cousin. And in that moment, he really didn't have any option but to lie. And once you had told the first lie, you kind of had to keep up with it at that point, like with saying that, oh, this is my brother, Las Felici. Cool. And then there was no, oh, LOL, I was just joking. Like, I meant to say it was my sister. You kind of had to see that one through.
Yeah. I really liked Sasha and Dimitri's relationship in this though. Like I could read a whole book about Sasha and Dimitri. I really like them. But
Yeah, I liked the end when they made up and he's like, "You're never gonna lie to me again, right?" And he was like, "No." And then they're like, "Okay, let's go fight together."
It's hard to find people you can trust.
And like, oh, the bit where what's the line where it's like Vasya realized why Sasha never came home, because as much as he loved the family, he found someone here he loved more or something like that. And I was just like,
is it gay? I hope it's.
Listen, I don't think it is, but I ship them. Like, I don't care. I want to read. Like, I just love them.
Wait, they're cousins. Wait, they're cousins though, right?
Yeah. I mean, but this time. They don't care about that.
Oh no.
They don't. The wife, like the dad's wife, is their cousin.
Yeah, they call each other cousins.
No,
they're
cousins. No, they are cousins because
are.
Their mom was the prince's father's sister. Like,
yeah,
like his mom.
Because remember, Dimitri was a child, and they sent him away to
friend, cousin, like brother.
No,
they're actual cousins.
You still ship them?
I don't anymore. I retract that. I retract that statement.
Not Megan shipping cousins.
No, so we mean like the generations of the family, like the grandma, as in Tamara, and her granddaughter, and her great granddaughter.
I'm so sorry. Oh no. Okay, I didn't say that.
So Anna, that was married to Vasya's dad, is Dimitri's sister. Because he was like, all right, if you marry my daughter, we're gonna I promise my son to whatever, and your daughter can marry this other, and like we're gonna just do this whole little.
Yeah, but I forgot they were actually. How are they actually related?
They're cousins.
The mum. Because
their
birth mum and their stepmom were related in some way. I think
the birth mom and the stepmom were like niece, aunt, and niece.
Oh my god, how is anyone related?
Too. Marrying your dead aunt's husband.
Yeah.
No shame.
Yeah, it is nasty. Okay, I'm really sorry for what I said, everyone.
You seem so torn up about it now.
I'm so sorry, everyone.
But I mean, the thing about it is, if they were male and female cousins during that time period, it would have been okay for them to get married.
True.
So it's really the gay part that's actually the problem, not the incest.
Okay, I didn't say it. Anyway, moving on. What else do we want to talk about? Is there any like parts we want to talk about? What have I got on my notes?
Are we ever gonna get back to the other siblings, like Aloshka? I don't know. The other brother.
I don't think he's in the last one that much, which I was really sad about because I loved him
I
as
really
well.
liked him.
I don't think he really shows up in the last one. I don't think. I don't want to I'm fine to say that, right? That's not a spoiler. Like I don't think he really shows up. Everyone put anything in the comments you want us to discuss about the book because I've gone blank.
Do we believe
What
Nick
about
read the series
the-
twice now?
Oh my
What
god,
about
wait,
the
what? Oh,
prophecy? No.
this is my favorite series, everyone. Whoops. Anyway, Nicole, what were you saying?
No, the prophecy. They say it on page. I know they
The
said
one
it in
for
the first
Masha?
book. Yeah, but then they also said the one for Vaskia. Like they re-say it here. I think they first said it in book 1.
Yeah, they say it in book 1, but did they say it in this one?
Yeah, she recaps
He's
it on
like,
page
you already
199.
heard your prophecy when they were at the bathhouse, I think. And Masha was asking for hers, and he was like, she's too young, he's a child. I was like, well, you've already heard yours. And they say it again. They say the grandfather, he says Masha's as well.
But it says she would die at her own choosing and wait for the nightingale. So
She's going to
But
cast
what's-
herself on her own sword to save him.
Is that the whole prophecy?
no, it says I don't know what it was in book 1, so there might be more. It's just recapping here. But it says she would pluck snowdrops at midwinter. So that happened at the end of book 1, yeah.
Mhm.
And then die at her own choosing and wait for a nightingale.
Is die by your own choosing not when is hang on. I can't remember what happens in book 3. But is die at your own choosing not when she runs back?
Yeah, that's what
into-
I thought. Like she chose to kind of like die to bring Morozko back.
He was
Are we
already dead, though,
supposed
so
to
that didn't
think
make
that
sense
though,
to me.
and something else is going to happen? Like, is this a trick?
I don't know. I can't
Maybe
remember.
death would be the final freedom that she can have because in life she cannot do and be what she wants, so she would choose to die. That might be interesting. I
You
might
just
like
wanted
that.
to die.
That's what everybody in the series
Yeah.
die often in finale.
And what's the last part of the prophecy? The last bit?
And wait for a nightingale. So that's Morozko, isn't it?
No.
Yeah.
No, Nightingale is
Solove.
Solove.
Oh, is it? I thought it was the bear.
No, Nightingale is Solove.
I thought the bear was the brother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So the horse is gonna die.
Now I will cry if that horse dies.
Megan?
In a consistent print.
I'm not saying
And
it.
she froze it.
I think the die at her own choosing is when she runs back. I think. Unless I genuinely can't remember what happens in the third book. Like I remember the start of it.
I
And,
feel like
like-
you would remember if she died or not. So it's like,
No, but like I
She was
don't
surprised by the villain, so I don't think so.
I'm so bad.
But that makes it
I
more
remember-
enjoyable. I feel like if you reread and you remember everything, is not as fun because there's no mystery, there's no intrigue. Because I already know what's gonna happen.
Well,
Yeah, but
clearly
that's why,
Megan did not remember.
So
Anything that
not
happened.
remembering, it's almost like you're reading for the first time all over again.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that dying at her own choosing is when she runs back because he's like, "You're dying, Vasya," and she's like, "You gotta save the world."
okay.
I'm just
Not
everyone
me
does
not
cry.
look at my book and skim the
I mean,
beginning.
he's not even real though.
Hmm?
He's not even real. So like him dying is really gonna be unnecessary. It's gonna hurt, even though he's not really real.
Well, I cried a lot at the third one.
I like crying in books, so we'll see.
And at the end, I think I cried when I read this one for the first time. I think I cried when Morozko goes, like when he like melts. Not he melts, but you know what I mean.
Melts like the snow maiden.
Yeah, I think I cried. Oh my god, wait, is that supposed to be a link?
What? Is that a cat?
I don't know.
No,
Huh? Wait, was that a cat? Do you have a cat?
no.
Is there a cat in your house?
I wish it was a real child. That's a mystery for another day.
Yeah, but I didn't cry this time. But like again, I wish I hadn't read it via the audiobook. I think, like, it does feel I do prefer it when I'm not reading via the audiobook. Like I read a few bits not with the audiobook, and I was like, this is so much more magical. Like the atmosphere feels so much better. But if I hadn't have read via the audiobook, I would not have read at all. So I'm gonna try and not read the last one via the audiobook. I'm gonna try. But hopefully I'll be reading again by then. I've got to read the 5th season next thanks to someone.
I was going to ask you how that decided not to. Is it murdering your brain? The physics?
I'm only 25 pages in.
That's a
But
lot.
already I'm like this when I'm in a slump, this is like a lot. Yeah. But hopefully I've got the audiobook, so hopefully that will help.
I'll leave it.
I'm really
It's one
excited.
of those where you can't audiobook and do other things. You have to just like do this.
Mm-hmm.
And just listen to the book.
Yeah, like I'm like I won't be able to like do my laundry or my makeup whilst listening to it. Right. Is there any other parts we want to discuss?
What about the
In it?
Firebird? Did we discuss that?
Oh no, we didn't. What did you think
The
of
Firebird's
it?
on the cover of book 3, so I feel like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't remember anything, so I can't comment on that. Oh, yeah, I remember what happens right at the start, and I remember what happens at the end. Vaguely, but I remember the start really clear of book 3. Like there's like 3 specific things I remember at the start that are like really good. And then oh my god, there's a character who's so cute in the 3rd book. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Do you want me to give you a tease?
Sure.
Can I give you a tease? Okay, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but like I'm just gonna say one word.
Wait, what?
Mushroom.
Okay.
Is it gonna be a talking mushroom? Is it gonna be like a new Sprite?
I'm not saying anything, but it's a really cute character.
Okay. It's gonna be a child Sprite. That's my prediction.
Right. Oh yeah, what did you think of the Firebird then? I think it's gonna have implications. Hang on. Wait, what am I saying what I think when I've read the book? Let me shut up, sorry. Nicole, what did you think?
Book 1 kind of read like
Oh sorry, Erin.
I feel like book 1 could have been a standalone. Like some first book in series is like, okay, the story could end here. So I was kind of expecting the girl in the tower to kind of do the same thing, but it didn't. So like the ending really felt like part 1 of 2. So I feel like where we left off is really not, everything isn't what it seems. It's kind of the vibe I have. Everything that isn't really the way it looks to us at the way that this book ended. And I feel like from everything I've heard as well, things kind of pick up immediately in the 3rd book. Whereas with this book, in the 1st book, it was like really slow up until like 200 page mark, and then like a whole bunch of stuff started happening in like 100 pages.
Yeah.
So I don't trust anything right now.
Do we have any predictions for what's gonna happen in the last book? Give me your prediction. Nicole, do you have any predictions?
I feel like she's gonna have to give herself up for something. Like either she's gonna become some sort of thing like Morosco, or I don't know. I just don't see her like going through this epic whatever's going to happen and then living a normal life because she's never wanted to live a normal life. So I feel like she's either going to die, but I don't think she's going to die based on your reactions. But I feel like she's going to have some sort of ending that makes her immortal and makes her like a god of sorts. That's my prediction.
Okay. Aaron?
I think she's gonna die. I don't think she's gonna find the freedom that she wants in life. So I think she's gonna die.
It's just what you want.
From where we ended off, life doesn't seem very much worth living. And it's still 14th century Rust, so there's only so much freedom women have. So I don't think she's from what she said, she would rather die than be trapped like that. So,
Yeah.
yes, it is.
Yeah. Riley, what about you? Do you have any predictions?
I have no idea. I hope that Constantine finally dies. Because I don't like him. And he needs to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish Becky would have saved this baby rather than the sister.
Oh, yeah, the birth scene. What did you think about Vastia's choice there? Like, to save.
It's
her
interesting
sister?
when you think about like her birth and how her mother chose like to give up her life for her. Because I just thought that was a really interesting contrast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then also Vaskia making that choice for Olga. I was like, oh.
Yeah. But I don't know, like it's hard because I don't know, yeah. It's a really hard decision and like to know whether Vasya made the right decision. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like though she was kind of like coming into it knowing what it's like to have her mom die giving birth to her and then like live without her mom. So she didn't want that to happen again. But it definitely was not her decision to make.
Oh no.
But in this society, especially her being in such a high position, like the ability to bear children, and bear healthy children, it's literally like your whole purpose. So I think they're gonna be like negative. There are negative impacts, and like as a result of not being able to do that.
Yeah,
even though there's already an heir technically, I guess, but still.
Yeah. Yeah, because like she like you're saying it, there's that like duality of like her mother choosing her, and so it's like the opposite of that, but also then knowing what it's like for that to have happened and like what it would be like for Olga's other children to grow up without their mum and stuff like that. So
but especially the child that was birthed then, because she grew up with that burden and she wouldn't want that on that baby.
Yeah, it was really sad. And the fact that Constantine was there was just get out. Get out. Just go away, please. I just hate him so much.
I was so disappointed when he popped up in the second book. I'm like, this feels so forced. Like, this is definitely unnecessary. Of all the priests in this whole country, there's only one y'all could find.
Why did he even? I can't even remember why he went there. Was it just he was going back?
Didn't Sasha like find him in the like just like in the snow and brought him?
I think at the end of book 1, like he decides he's gonna go back to Moscow. If I remember correctly, he
was the priest that they were nursing back to health, and he was like, "I brought him here to you, sister, rather than taking him to the convent or wherever, because the monastery, because they're just gonna give him water and put him in a cell, and like you were nursing back to health in a premium way."
Premium.
You're gonna get a better fare here at the monastery.
Yeah, he's so annoying. Hate him so much. What a wet wipe. Oh my god, the end scene when he's like, "Pastor, I love you," like I hate you, and I'm like, just shut up.
It's interesting how attracted to Vaskia all the men are.
Yeah,
and they always say she's ugly.
Yeah.
They're always like, she's ugly, but I'm drawn to her. Like,
is that necessary?
Like,
Oh,
damn, they
it's
just
a
gotta make
magical
excuses
pool.
for why they're so horny.
Girl, the way you riding that horse making me real randy. What? Her eyes are really green and really spaced out. Like every time they would describe her, like she's real skinny and muscular and like not womanly at all. But I'm just drawn to her, and I don't know why. I want this devil worshiper girl to let go of this hold she has on me.
There was a moment in the book though where Sasha was thinking about that, and he's like, "Oh, so that's why they call her a witch or something along those lines." And I thought that was a really interesting.
Because she bewitched the man.
Yeah, it's her witchy power that draws them in. Oh dear. Well, I feel like we should wrap it up now because we've been going for an hour. Thank you all for joining me. Nicole, I'm sorry that you have not had any sleep.
It's my own fault. Don't apologize.
But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. We're now going to be reading Winter of the Witch this month. I feel like we should say now the live show will probably be like a month from now if we're being realistic with ourselves. Like probably a week into February, probably, right? Yeah, let's just say that. Hopefully we won't all be reading it like the day before and the day of.
It's very likely it still happens, but
Yeah, I can't make that promise.
we just all did it so our thoughts will be very fresh.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like we do need to read books close to the live show.
Yeah.
Like things to be fresh. That's the excuse we can all give. But yeah, thank you for joining us. The sections are already up in the Goodreads if you want to like put your reactions in there, those of you that are watching as you read along. And yeah, thank you for joining us for the read along. I'm super excited to read the last one. And yeah, okay, I'm gonna say bye now. Okay.